Hi there, my name is Carmel Hauck. My student number is T00701793. This is my clinic mentor, Brenda Kay. She's just monitoring our dog who is on some IM sedation, and then we gave him some IV Ket-Val as well. So we are going to clip and clean a hotspot that he has on his neck. So these are my supplies. I have my scrub solution, I have chlorhexidine, and then I have some gauze that I will wet. I have some gloves for after I wash my hands, and then I have a lint roller to remove some brush if we need. So I'm going to start by turning around my camera and getting it into the proper positioning. Okay, and then I have my cordless clippers. So I'm going to start by trimming with the growth of fur to get the bulk of the hair out of the way. And then I have a garbage can just at my feet here so that I can get the fur right into it. So we're gonna go for about an inch margin around the size of the hot spot to get to a healthy skin. So I'm just gonna clip with the live fur. And then we're gonna start to clip against the fur as well to get a close shave. And it does go all the way up to his ear surface, so I'm going to shave up to there as well to expose any of this hot spot so that we can clean it and tidy it up. And I'm just making sure to avoid getting any hair in his eyes. And I'm just going to tidy up my edges here as well to make it nice and neat. And then I'm just going to loosen up the fur here around where the hot spot is too, so I can get a close clip of it. So since he is pretty jowly, I'm just keeping some tension against my clipper blade so that I don't get his skin at all. Although his skin is pretty friable here. So I'm just going back over areas where I want to get it a little closer to the skin. Changing up my clipper position with the fur growth, because his fur kind of grows in all directions here. So we have about a 1-inch margin all around the hot spot itself. The fur is pretty caked into the discharge there, so I might have to wet it a bit and then shave it a bit closer afterwards, just because it's all one big scab under here. So I'm going to go with my clippers and try to get this fur as short as possible before we do our first general scrub. So I'm going to tidy up my fur. I'm not going to vacuum just because he is on ketamine, and that does make him quite noise reactive. So I do have a lint brush here that I'm just going to lint brush the clippings off of his face and my surface as well. I'm going to do just one final lint roll. And then I'm going to start with some Chlorhex soaked gauze. And we're going to do a general scrub of the area with our chlorhexidine soap just to kind of work up some of this crust and get the first 99% of the skin cleaned. So I'm just working up some of this scabbing to soften it. And then after this is softened up, I'll try to shave this for a bit closer in here as well. But it's quite sore and irritated underneath all this scabbing. So I'm going to do 2 more scrubs of this just to work up the scabs, and then I'm going to shave a bit more. And now that that fur is loosened up a bit, I'm going to go and clip a bit closer. So there's a heavy scab just over this one portion that doesn't want to shave. Okay. So that scab has finally loosened up, so I'm just going to trim up my edges and clean it. And then I'm going to do another general scrub before I do my final surgical scrub. I'm going to do one more quick general scrub of the area now that I've got all that discharge. Now that the area is nice and clean, we're going to do our 3 surgical scrubs. Okay, so I have my chlorhexidine. I'm just going to go wash my hands before I do my surgical scrub. And then I'm going to place my exam gloves. They're not sterile gloves, but they're exam gloves. Okay, and we're going to do our final 3 skin preps of the area. So I have 3 chlorhexidine infused gauze squares, and I'm just going to fold them into a scrub point. And we're going to do our scrub. So starting in the inner area, and then keeping clean to clean, dirty to dirty. Any target, we're just going to go all the way around the wound, keeping in the same method. Then we're going to do our second one. And then our final. Okay, so we won't be placing a final prep on this because of it being a hot spot rather than an abscess. That my vet would be lancing. But now the wound is all clean, and I will check in with him, and then we will come back if there's any more treatments. Okay, so the doctor has checked it over and he has okayed the shave and the clip and clean. There is only going to be one further treatment. We're going to be applying some isoderm gel. So there's no alcohol or topical final. We are just going to be sending home with isoderm. So I'm going to place a bit of that onto the gauze. And then we're going to do a thin layer. And these are clean gloves. They're not the same that I had. I'm just going to glob it on. And then we'll spread it around thin. It's okay, Sugar Bear. You're okay. So just a thin layer of the isoderm. And then we're going to get a e-collar prepared and put it on him as well. Okay, so the hotspot is high enough onto his face that we are going to put an e-collar on him as he's scratching with a back leg. So I have a brachycephalic large size with a tie around the neck, and we are just going to slip it underneath him. And then we are going to put it on the largest setting. And then I'm just going to take the surgical tie, and we're just going to make it finger tight on him. So Brenda's going to put 2 fingers in there while I tie my loop. And then we will cut those down to size, and that is putting on an e-collar. Okay, so we have moved Kano to his recovery kennel so that he can relax and come down from his drugs. He is nice and clean, so the site itself, since we didn't lance anything or have any blood or purulent discharge afterwards, he is already pretty clean. So all I did was have his cone and then move him here. I'm going to go over the discharge instructions with the owner shortly, but I will do it on video here as well. So we are asking her to keep the cone on for at least 7 days until the itching kind of comes down and it has a chance to heal. And then we're also going to ask her to wash twice a day with chlorhexidine. So we have a bottle of chlorhexidine soap in here, and we are going to ask her to do similar to what we did, like a general wash, scrub the area twice a day, so every 12 hours for 7 days. We're sending her home with some gauze as well to do that. And then we are asking her to wash it before applying the isoderm like that we had done. So she has a tube of isoderm gel going home as well. So a thin layer to that affected area every 12 hours for 7 days. And then we are putting him on an antibiotic as well. This is Simplicef. So he gets 1 tablet every 24 hours for 7 days. This one should go with some food. So I'm going to bag that all up for her. His owner should be here in the next couple hours, and then I'll go through this all over with her and her discharge instructions, and then he can go home. So this is just a pre of the area before I clean, and then I'll show you a post. Alright, so this is just a photo showing that the area where you're in is completely clean, including all the clippers have been cleaned up as well.